Welcome to Joshua Shultz's podcast. We'll be covering entertainment, movies, photography, TV shows, and health. What's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a long time. How you been?
Dude, it's been a minute. I've been fantastic. How about yourself?
Same. It's been a wild couple of years. I don't remember the last time I saw you. I think it was maybe 2019.
Wow. You know what, though? I feel like a couple of those years just don't count. You know?
I agree with you.
I subtract at least 2 years from any of these wild statements because COVID doesn't count.
I feel like I'm going to take 3 years out.
There you go.
From March 2020 till, I feel like 2023 things are starting to finally roll a little bit, but still not totally.
Yeah, I've been lucky that touring came back at least, a couple of years ago. And even then, when we started, it was a little bit suspect. In fact, I remember playing a show in New York City, one of the first shows we played, I guess, 2 years ago. And it was right on the cusp. Mandates were gone. And then that exact week, New York was like, nope, we're bringing them back. And it was real close call. We almost didn't get to go on stage. It was like 30 minutes before they said, you can't play the show. And we were like, well, it's sold out and everybody's already there waiting, so we're just gonna get on stage. But yeah, I'm glad that we're not dealing with that anymore. Although I don't want to jinx anything because you just never know in this crazy world.
Yeah, I know. At this point, so much crazy stuff happened that you get this congressional hearing where people are like, aliens are real, and everyone's like, who cares?
Right? We're at a place in time in history where aliens being real is just not even that great of a topic anymore. It's like, we have other things to deal with, so who cares? We're gonna be invaded at any moment. I mean, I do feel pretty validated though, because I've always known, I've always believed it. I mean, honestly, think about it. It'd be a wild waste of space, no pun intended, if there weren't other life forms out there.
My point of view is, if you understand science at all, which is that the universe goes on forever. And Earth is like not even a grain of, sand on a beach. To the idea to think that we're the only life in this universe is like the most arrogant, narcissistic, of course there's life. We just are advancing more and more as a civilization I remember a few years ago, we hadn't even found another Earth, and now we found a whole bunch of other Earths. So,
it's wild. We have so many. It's like, on one hand, we have so many real problems to deal with here on our little planet, and on the other hand, it's like, does any of that really matter? Does any of this matter? And so I think it's good perspective. Obviously, don't just give up. Deal with your things day to day. But I think it is a good, it's a good reminder of just how relatively insignificant our problems are. And sometimes when we feel like the world is going to end because of this one thing or because of paying the bills or whatever it might be, it's a nice perspective to remind ourselves that it probably won't. It probably will, this too shall pass. It'll probably be okay. So I know it's always tough for us to realize that in the moment, but the older I get, the more I try and remind myself of that.
That's actually a trick I use whenever I'm faced with a really insurmountable problem. I'll think about how big the city is, the state, the country, the planet, the solar system, the universe, and then I'll kind of go back to my problem, and all of a sudden the problem is confrontable. And then because I'm able to confront it, I then handle it, and it's not a problem anymore. And I call it comparing problems of magnitude.
Yeah.
But anyway, so for the people out there who don't know who you are, could you give us a little introduction of who you are and what kind of things you do?
Sure. What's up, guys? I'm James Maslow. I just got off tour with my band Big Time Rush. I've been doing that for a long time. We started with a TV show and the band on Nickelodeon in 2007. It was on air in 2009. I'm also an actor. I've been lucky to lead some really amazing films in the last many years. One of my favorites was Wolfhound, which was a huge World War II film that actually did well enough that the director, Michael B. Chait, got a much bigger budget for our next film that is a Western that, depending on the strike and if we can get permission to film, we're going to go ahead and get that done this year. And obviously, we need to do it with SAG-AFTRA's approval. But whenever we can safely, legally go out and film, that's going to be an exciting one. And then besides music and film and TV, I truly love motivating people. And so I've taken it not upon myself, I suppose, but I've been given some amazing opportunities as of late to go and to speak and to motivate and to share my story. And so that's a world that I'm jumping into to try and encourage people to be the best versions of themselves.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's amazing. I love that. That's kind of the purpose of the podcast, is to share knowledge and to inspire people.
Love that.
And create a community, and hopefully.
Yeah. What inspired you to start the podcast?
Well, you've known me for a long time in the industry, and ironically, when I really first started getting into directing, you and I became friends, and I went on quite a journey, and I realized that a lot of power that I got was finding the correct knowledge about a subject. I mean, all the way down to like, you could be editing and be running into a problem, and someone's like, oh, just, hit Command F2 and that handles that thing. But it's not necessarily. I knew that
6 hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes it's not Googleable. It's just some people know stuff. And same with storytelling. And I ran into a problem with, few people that were a little bit more not great people, where they were kind of holding on to all the information and hoarding it, and they didn't want to share it, and they had this like fear of competition. And then there were other people that were, sharing the information and educating and helping fellow artists succeed and sort of creating this community. And so sometimes I have these incredible conversations with people that really inspire me. And I just thought, like, how cool would it be to capture that in a podcast and allow people to maybe learn something or get inspired, especially in the world right now where it seems like we have an overflow of negativity. Maybe we can inject some positivity and inspiration and knowledge.
Love that.
So that kind of, I mean, I've only been doing the podcast for, I think, 3 weeks now, but we've been getting so many people. I think we have like 40 people lined up now.
Amazing.
Which I'm so grateful for. And of course, I want to get also my friends that have been there. Like you and I have been through so much, from, taking Harleys from Los Angeles to Vegas.
That was a fun trip. Never forget that one. Not sure we should do that midsummer again in 117-degree weather, but it was fun nonetheless.
Yeah, I think I lost 5 pounds in sweat on that trip.
For real. Sidebar, I saw the most amazing life hack on a silly little video, but like not silly at all, because I wish we had thought of this. They were, I don't know if they're Harley riders, they're big bike riders, and they just got one of those like 50-pound bags of ice and strapped it to their handlebars, and as the ice melted, like as they're driving in the heat, in the summer heat, it was just brilliant. It was like the best air conditioning in the world. That would have been a game changer. $4, whatever those things cost, just save that thing up, man. It was brilliant.
That was amazing. That was it was you, me, Jason Doring, and we went to Vegas. We went to a Circus LA show.
We did. Did we go to Ka?
I think we went to Ka, and it was like one of the first times I cried watching a show. It was so like
It's amazing.
Blowing,
yeah.
And
then
we ate
walked
at
into the nicest. It's a Michael's, which I think is arguably the fanciest restaurant in Las Vegas, thus making it one of the fanciest restaurants in the world. And we walk in freaking leather jackets, sweaty T-shirts, and just sit down like just this absurdly expensive dinner. But it was certainly an experience.
It was incredible. And Jason's actually out here in Florida. He's not far from me.
No way. Yeah. So where in Florida are you at?
Clearwater.
So that's a few hours north of Miami?
Yeah, it's 4 hours and on the other side of the island. It's like near Tampa. It's like half an hour away from Tampa.
Okay. Is that near where a lot of the clear, no pun, but a lot of the lakes, like the gorgeous Clearwater lakes are at?
I think that's another 45 minutes north. We have Clearwater Beach was voted the most beautiful beach in America. So nice. It's like white sands, clear ocean water. The water's like, well, you're in Miami, like 85 degrees. And
yeah. Sometimes it's too warm. Like summertime, especially on the Gulf side, it's like it's 100 degrees outside. I want my beach to be a little cooler. Being
Yeah.
bougie here, but no, it's Florida's amazing, man. I'm only been in Miami for about a year, and I'm just in love.
Oh my God. It's you know, not to shit on California, but to shit on California. When
Go
I
right
came to
ahead.
Florida, I didn't realize that quality of life could be so great. People could be so kind, and where I live, I'm right next to a tropical island. So every time I go out, I feel like I live in a national park, and
Yeah,
I have a pond outside my window. I watch like baby otters swim in it, and I've been
it's so
watching and
great.
taking care of like baby ducks, and it's like a Disney movie. But
It's awesome, man.
anyway,
That's how you should be living. A little bit of nature, feeling like you're on vacation. Why travel to have to go on vacation only 1 or 2 weeks a year? Why not live where you want to be? If you can work remotely, which so many of us can now, you might as well be somewhere that you enjoy.
well, I also think it's so smart for you to be in Miami because you have a certain amount of touring and going out and shooting movies, and then you have this home base where you're in a tropical area. It's not like Nevada where you're in the middle of a desert. Um,
Tried that. I tried Vegas, outside of Vegas. And look, it has its perks. Like if you're a desert person and you want to be out on your razors and dirt bikes, and there's a ton of that stuff to do, I just found that it was so dry. And I've always been happiest on water. Growing up in San Diego, I've always been near the water. Even in LA, my house is in Venice Beach when I was living there. And there's something that's homey and calming and tranquil and truly just makes me happy about seeing water every day. So that's true. I mean, and it's one of my favorite things about Miami, in particular, pardon me, is that everywhere you go, you're driving over bridges and seeing boats and people are paddleboarding and active and there's just waterways, and it's like the fact that this city exists how it does is pretty amazing. Looking at the
yeah.
gorgeous beaches and the skylines. I mean, it's a trip. It's really a trip out here.
Well, when I come out to Miami, I'll have to kidnap you and take some photos of you.
Please do.
Uh,
Oh man, dude, I wish you lived closer. We'd be doing that more often. We should
yeah,
definitely make a point to do it soon.
I think
I'm
I'm coming
finally home.
out in later September. Um, Ironically, I might be doing a VIP backstage pass for Drake and maybe doing some photos.
Cool.
And then while I'm out there, I want to do a couple of photo shoots. And I've never been to Miami, so I want to like just sort of see what it's all about. Because I feel like Miami is probably the closest town in Florida that's like LA in terms of work.
I mean, maybe in terms of like network and accessibility, but it's so different. It's so
Yeah,
different in a very good way.
right.
Like you said, I find that people out here are just generally nicer. What's funny is that you talk to locals, like, what do you mean? But I think it's relative to, we lived in LA, which used to be amazing. I was in love with it when I first moved there. But the culture, and I think that's partially with social media and how, a lot of people now have been driven to want to be something that isn't really a job. They want to be famous, or they want to be an influencer without developing a talent to have something to influence, which I suppose some of them can do, but I don't really know what you're striving to accomplish here, what you're striving to do. It doesn't make sense. And so LA has cultivated this community of let's encourage this, but then not support each other. Let's be vapid and shallow, but all be going for the same unrealistic, undefined, relatively unattainable goal, and not use our brains and figure out how to run it like a business. But we'll just keep on keeping on, and it's just all like it's like from here to here. There's nothing
Yeah.
going on. There's nothing going on down here. I think that's LA to me. So I know you know what I'm talking about. And
That's so
man,
accurate. It's like I call it cannibalism in a way. It's like some people are so desperate to make it that instead of building something like having your purpose be to create art that is incredible, it's more this like hustle mentality of like climbing on each other to get a little bit higher, and it's sort of whether it's lying, manipulating, or whatever. But the thing is, those people don't really last that long, and then
that was very high turnover, and I think that's certainly part of it.
yeah, and then the good people that, because I've also met some, because I grew up in Los Angeles, so I've met some incredible people that, but ironically, my favorite people that I'm really close to have all now moved away, or not all of them. Some of them are still there, but a lot of them have been moving away. So I'm
Yeah.
even trying to decide where I'm going to move to I think early next year I'm gonna move, and I haven't figured out where yet.
How come? I thought you love your pond and your area. Just not enough
Well,
networking out there. Or...
it could be Miami, but where I'm at right now is I had a health scare earlier this year, and um, I still have another 4 months of recovery before I'm 100% healed.
Okay,
And
you're on
so,
your way. That's good.
yeah, I mean, the good thing is the doctor said I'm a 2 months ahead of schedule. I'm healing a lot faster than they expected.
Hell yeah, I love
Um,
that.
so that's great. And in the meantime, I'm getting the script for my feature done, and I'm working out, and I'm doing all kinds of other things that I normally wouldn't have time for before I kind of relaunch. But mentally, I've been thinking between like Miami, Austin, um, maybe Nashville, but
I actually really like Nashville. Um,
yeah,
I mean, there's so much music there, and I went on a writing trip recently and spent a week working with some friends out there. We stayed in Franklin, which is like 30 minutes outside of Nashville proper, and gorgeous little town. Austin's cool, but I'm not sure that I get it. And maybe it's because there's such an influx of so many people like Miami and other cities, but it's much smaller. So I think it's being affected more rapidly, if you will. And
yeah,
it just feels like it doesn't know what it is.
yeah.
When I'm there, it just, I don't know. I got some great friends there. I've had some great times there. In fact, I might go see, might take my girlfriend Caitlin to see Morgan Wallen for her birthday
Woo.
coming up. And it's like, hey, why not? We'll go and see some friends. But yeah, they're both interesting, but they're also both very landlocked. I mean, there's lakes around there, don't get me wrong, but they're not particularly close. Versus if you like being on the water, I mean, Miami's great, but you've never been here, so I'd say come on down, spend a long weekend. Don't go out and just, I don't think you're at this place in your life anyways, but don't do the Miami where it's like Vegas on the beach, because you can do that. You can go to Space and 11 and be up all night, which a lot of people come here for. But people who live here, I can't imagine, can do that on a regular basis. And I have found that there is such a healthy local community where there's just amazing restaurants. You can
That's
go
what
get
I
a
want.
workout on a sick rooftop at 8 a.m. on the weekend and find other cool, healthy people. I'm going paddleboarding. I'm taking Caitlin tomorrow, like 30 minutes north through the mangroves, which
Woo.
is like supposed to be amazing. It's just there's so much adventurous stuff to do. So come out and like let's do a couple of days adventuring, and
That's what I
that's the side
want.
of Miami I think you'll love.
I want like gyms, and restaurants that are healthy and swimming in the ocean. Like, I don't know. I'm 40. Going to a club, it sounds like so painful. I want to
It
like,
is painful. It's like you're treated like trash, even if you're spending thousands of dollars, because there's always somebody spending more, and it's such a strange environment, And I in my 20s, it was more exciting because you hadn't done it that much before. But even then, I never really overdid that because I'm just looking around, being like, it's strange. The only people who can actually afford to pay for these things are like me, and then that 50-year-old that is either cheating on his family or sadly alone at this point in his life. And it just was like, how is this the party scene? And it hasn't changed. It's like really young people and then like kind of old people that maybe shouldn't be doing that, who are footing most of the bills.
that's so
It's just
accurate.
it's strange. You know what though?
Yeah.
Once in a while, it's like, hey, go rent a boat, go out on the water, yeah, have some drinks with your friends, let loose. But that's about the extent of my version of partying these days.
Yeah, like I like to dance. So I remember in LA right before I left, they opened a country bar in Hollywood, and so we had a party there, and I didn't even drink. I think I brought cake, and I never have sugar, so that was like such a rush. I danced till 2 a.m. And I'm lucky that this fall there's some great concerts that are coming through Florida.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm gonna get a little bit of that. But anyway, I want to talk more about you. So, what was the story of Big Time Rush coming back together and going on tour up until now?
Well, we took about an 8-year hiatus, and that was much needed. I mean, we were all pretty burnt out. We didn't get a day off for a couple of years, quite literally. When we started, and we were so excited and so grateful and having so much fun, we didn't quite notice we were getting burnt out, and then realized, oh wow, we have to actually ask like Sundays off so we can see our families and get some rest and develop our own friend circles. And even then, it just was a lot. It was a lot for a lot of years. We were on top of each other. We filmed and toured and filmed and toured. And as artists, wanted to play other characters, wanted to develop our own sound, wanted to write our own music, and as people needed to just take a little break. So I'm so grateful that we did do that, because when we decided to come back together, I found the best team that could possibly work for us. It was a team that used to produce our tours. They were management as well, but they weren't our management. Sat down with them and said, hey, is there any interest in the market? And they said, okay, let's go and ask. We're going to ask your old agents. I'm going to talk to industry and insiders and my friends and see. Second question was, would you want to manage us? Immediately, yes. And then third question I asked him was, how do we own it? To which he said, I don't know yet, but let me figure it. Let's start figuring this out. And I could see the gears beginning to turn behind his eyes already. Next day, he calls me back and says, 100% been a resounding positivity to the idea of you guys coming back in the market. Could be perfect timing. And then, hey, we'll start putting together the team. Here's a few suggestions. Let's go meet the right attorneys, put together the rest of it. So anyways, that was kind of the catalyst to it all. I called the rest of the guys. They all were excited about it. In fact, a couple of them have been trying to get the band back together over the past several years anyways, and it just wasn't right timing or wasn't the right team, but it was at this point. So everybody jumped on board. We started going. We thought we were going to be releasing music, just a matter of months later, and then COVID hit. This is right before, I guess this is in 2019. And the silver lining for us was that it gave us ample time to then actually figure out good music and actually figure out the right direction instead of just putting something out. So we put out a handful of singles that I'm very proud of, and then we just, half a year ago or so released, not even about half a year, 4 or 5 months right before tour, released a full album called Another Life that I'm extremely proud of. It's not just 10 random songs. It's 10 really good, well-written, well-crafted pop songs. And of course, I should feel this way, but if we just rushed music out, I don't know that I would have. I'm more proud of this music and this album than anything else we've ever done. And the same with the last tour. Every aspect of the tour, from who we're bringing on to what it should look like, what it should sound like, what it should feel like, the four of us were in charge of. So this time around, we're running our own business, and we're reaping the benefits of it because we're hearing fans be more excited now than they've ever been. We're selling out bigger venues, and we sold out Madison Square Garden last summer. We sold out the Forum this year, places we never even attempted to play before, much less say we sold them out. So long story long, that was kind of the process. Had no idea if it was going to work. We were cautiously optimistic, but in no world did we think it was going to be bigger this time around than last time. And that's where we're sitting. So we just finished the Can't Get Enough tour. We're taking a short beat, but we're going to get back into writing new music, planning new tours, and going more places around the world. Honestly, I got a call in an hour, so we're not really taking a beat. We're keeping it going.
Wow, it's incredible. I remember one day, this is random, but it has to do with your tour. I saw Craig Robinson trending and Big Time Rush trending. And the news was that I guess there was a shooting in like a club. So Craig Robinson was thanking Big Time Rush because he went and he kind of like took shelter at your guys' concert and then had a great time.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. I actually meant to reach out to him on social media. It just was a very odd way to connect. Like, even though he made light of it and he made jokes about it and actually complimented us quite a bit, it felt like a strange, I remember almost writing something then not sending it, because I was like, I don't want this to be the reason that I connect with somebody who I'm a huge fan of. He's a brilliant actor, a fucking hilarious comedian. But I remember just kind of I didn't send it because I remember feeling like, I don't want to use his real life scary situation to be the bridge for me to get something out of it. That's how it felt. So anyways, if he's watching this, big fan. But yeah, it was kind of wild. I remember playing the show and seeing a bunch of cops come in. And we didn't stop the show because they didn't ask us to, and nobody really noticed. It was in the back of the crowd. But we kind of assumed, I don't know, maybe somebody got sick or, tripped, and it was them just kind of escorting out. But we found out after the show exactly what had happened. And I don't remember the details, but I don't think anybody got hurt, luckily. And yeah, man, it was cool. He gave Big Time Rush a big old shout out. So take the good out of that.
Other than that crazy scenario, is there any kind of incredible memories from this recent tour that stand out to you?
Such a loaded question. There's so many of them. One of my favorites was we played PNC in New Jersey. And I think technically that was the highest ticketed show in the States because it's, I mean, when you play some of these amphitheaters, they have more room than arenas because you can just keep filling the lawn. You know, you can fit 20, 30,000 people in some of these things. And we had somewhere up there. And I flew my dad out to it. My uncle came, my cousins, just a bunch of family that mean a lot to me. And it was just a little surreal, you know, getting to experience that with them, just standing side stage, then being in the crowd. And it was the first time my dad saw this show, which was majorly elevated compared to this the tour, the Forever Tour we did last year, because we put a lot more into it. We knew a little bit more. We were more confident that we were going to have the sales to justify spending more in production, and so we did. And it was just kind of one of those pinch me moments where it's like, this is what I'm getting to do for a living, and it has this level of impact where my own family, people that I care about, people that look up to me, like my cousins who are a lot younger, you know, get to be here, get to bring them backstage. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, that feels good. It feels good to be looked at this way, to get these types of compliments from these types of people who mean the world to me.
That's incredible. Also, I love your dad. Tell him I said hi.
We'll do.
It's also, just from being an outside perspective, to me, it's incredible because I met you in between Big Time Rush. And one thing that I that inspired me about you, that created an effect on me, was seeing how hard you were always working. Like, you were always working on art. You were always advancing, moving forward. It was like you never, I don't know if you don't know how to relax, but it was like you were always at full speed. And when I met you, you know, I was around 300 pounds, and you gave me so much insight about food and macros and working out and what you do. And between Jason and you, it set me on this course where I really became obsessed with health, originally to lose weight. And then eventually, I think it was 6 months into working out and dieting, I woke up one day and I wasn't in pain anymore. And I hadn't even realized that I'd been in pain for over a decade until I was getting healthy. And so then the goal shifted from, you know, the physical appearance to just, I became addicted to feeling good. And I feel like that's what that's why I like, you know, sometimes if I have a choice between going out partying, getting drunk, and going to bed early so that I can feel good for my workout in the morning, you know, I go to bed early.
I'd say most of the time we choose that at this point. It's more fun for me. I'm with you 100%. It's like nothing feels as good as feeling good.
Yeah.
And to your point, there's countless people who are constantly in pain and they just live with it. They might acknowledge it, but they might not. They might think that that's how you're supposed to feel, how all of their friends feel and their circle feels. But man, it's so nice to hear you say all these things, and I'm so proud of you because there are so many natural ways. Just going back to just eating well and moving your body. It's not that complicated to take yourself out of pain, to avoid serious diseases, to avoid, you know, fatal diseases, to elongate your life and create a better quality of life while we're here. And it's just, once you start experiencing it, there's nothing more addicting.
Oh my God. Yeah. Are you still have your regiment still going, working out?
I mean, it's more so now than it's ever been. All I've ever done is continued to learn more, redefine the morning routine. You know, I'm even studying kinesiology and getting certified as a personal trainer and working on sports nutrition right now. Just not that I train my band every day. I've trained friends and programmed for fun because I've done it for so long. And I figured, hey, I might as well just kind of have an accreditation to feel a little bit better about it. Especially, you know, I do post a little bit more on social media now about my workouts. And, you know, I've never claimed to know something that I don't know, but it's something I've done for so long that I had to also realize and acknowledge I do have a wealth of information here that I can just share my story, share what I do. May not be the right thing for you, but it's certainly worth a try. And if you find something that you like that works, keep doing it. If you don't, try something else. Man, I'm
that's amazing. Well, just going back to sharing the knowledge, the thing that I found was I was trying to get in shape for like 10 years, and it's getting the right person sharing the right knowledge that creates the results. And it was you and Jason who were like, oh, this is what it is. And then, you know, I still had to put in the work, but I think with health, the key to health is finding the truth, as opposed to there's so many different theories or ideas. And especially when you're like me, when I was losing weight and getting in shape, then I started running into everybody wanting to enforce their kind of point of view on what I should do. And I had to kind of ignore all that and just be consistent. So I really respect that you share that, because you have no idea how many people's lives that might change. So I think that's great. You're going to get certified. And I love that you train the band.
Yeah, it's so funny. All summer long, Carlos, past 2 summers in particular, he'll be sitting there, whether it's like in an interview or someone he's talking to, is like, oh yeah, man, my trainer just whooped my ass. My trainer is, put on my shoulders, and I'm sitting right next to him, and eventually someone goes, who's your trainer? He's like, oh, James. He loves that. But I mean, he is actually in incredible shape now. He started working out a long time ago because of me, and he wasn't a routine that he did or any of the guys did. Logan always kind of trained. He's always been pretty strong, but anyways, when Carlos got into it, though, he's so dedicated and he's so disciplined. He looks like a little bodybuilder now. I mean, he's got an incredible physique and he keeps training on his own. I'm really proud of him.
That's amazing. Also, I bet being on tour is very physically taxing. Like shows, I feel like being a performer should be an Olympic sport because of how much energy and do you ever like get like a Fitbit or something and track the calories you burn just in a show?
I think that Kendall's worn one, or maybe Carlos on stage. I'm not a big fan of tracking everything. Like, I'll wear my Apple Watch when I go on runs, mostly so I don't have to take my phone with me. But I've dialed in my macros and my average calories enough that I've got a really good idea of where I'm at. Like if anybody wants to do one of those in-bodies, which are semi-accurate, or better yet, go to get a DEXA scan, it'll not only tell you your fat and then your visceral fat, which is the bad stuff around your organs. It'll tell you your bone density, your muscle mass, but it'll also give you a pretty good idea of your resting metabolic rate. So that's what your body's going to burn completely at rest in a day. And the more muscle you have, the more your body's going to burn. So you get an idea, and I'm somewhere around 2,000, a little under, if I don't do anything. And then I have track workouts enough to know, okay, if I work out hard, I'm closer to 1,000. If I just do it 600, and I kind of just know the difference. So I eat average 3,000 calories a day. And if I try and put on, I just eat more than that. And if I'm trying to cut, I eat a little less than that. That's how my science works at this point. It's not every single thing I eat. It's not every little teaspoon of oil, because that drives me crazy. Some people can do that. I did it for long enough to kind of know. And now I kind of also go based on how I feel. If I just had a killer leg workout and I am freaking dead, I'm most likely to be more hungry, and I'll justify eating the bread and the burger or the crappier carbs or just eating more. And if I just sat on my ass all day and didn't do much, then I harder to justify overeating that day. So that's kind of my consistency and how I look at my training and my intake.
That's amazing. I find when I sit on my ass all day, I tend to want to eat all the bad stuff. And when I work out really hard, I crave the good stuff.
It's programming your mind and your body in a good way.
Yeah, and especially when I started getting into running, my body was like, oh, it's a lot heavier to carry this other crap. Like, we're gonna crave this because that's gonna be easier to turn into fuel. Yeah. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm just psyched to be home right now. I moved to Miami almost a year ago, and I've been touring for at least half of that. So I really haven't settled in. So being home is exciting. I'm actually starting a design company, Papaya Studios. My sister's an architect. One of my best friends out here is a realtor, and probably in the near future going to get his brokerage license. We might build a whole company out of that. But I bought a house, and we're doing an entire remodel and redesign as the first project with the company. And this one I want to live in, so it's exciting. I'm kind of building a little bit of like a mini dream home for me. I just ordered the cold plunge and the infrared sauna. Ooh. And it's going to be, you know me, it's going to be like a little health oasis.
Where's your gym going to be?
It's not a huge place. It's a relatively small house. We're still going to have to do kind of the garage gym build out, but it's going to be great. It's going to be, my garage gyms I call Gym, Jimgym. So this will be Gym 3. It'll be the third one I'm doing. Maybe one day I'll scale that and make it an actual gym. But we're going to put a gym in there. And yeah, man, so that's exciting. I have a couple of other ventures, one in tech, one in education, a couple things that are doing quite well. So I'm going to be bringing some more business out to Miami, actually looking at some properties and some real estate to purchase with that this weekend. We're trying to get a boat. I have thrown out the crazy idea of doing a podcast myself.
Woo.
You know, a lot of my friends are doing it, inspiring me. Just my second one I've done this week. And I found that I enjoy sharing my story. I enjoy talking to other people, hearing their stories. So I love it. And I don't want to give you any details on that because I have a crazy idea. And if it doesn't happen, I don't want people to be like, what happened to that? But maybe it will introduce that this year. And then if the Western gets an exemption from SAG-AFTRA, or if we can figure out a fair deal for the actors and the writers, they'll be filming one of the biggest movies studio. It's an independent it's with Lionsgate and Grindstone producing and distributing. So I'm not sure if it's considered an indie or a studio. I don't care. It's directed by Michael B. Chait, and it's going to be, gunslinging and cannons and horses and trains and like just a proper action
That's so
Western.
Cool. Oh my God.
So I know you get fired
I'm
up.
a big Western fan.
Me too. And since like 310 to Yuma, and maybe I've missed one or two, so I'm not trying to be trash talking here. I just love Westerns, and I haven't seen a great Western since that one.
I think the only ones that have been great have been neo-Westerns, so like modern day Westerns, but I haven't seen any...
Like Westworld type stuff?
Yeah, and like Taylor Sheridan films, like, Wind River and Sicario and Yellowstone.
Dude, he does such great work. We just finished, we're not finished watching, waiting for the next episode of Lioness, which I believe is also a Taylor Sheridan project. And man, I mean...
I don't know how
be a part of a show like that one day. That'd be fun.
I know, one day. But I love that you're doing a proper Western.
Sorry?
I would say I love that you're doing a proper Western, like an old...
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna be proper. And the suspected cast, of course nothing's locked in, is pretty phenomenal. It won't be a movie that I'm number one on the call sheet, most likely. I'll probably be coming in and playing, at least I'm playing a bad guy, I'll be 4 or 5. I'm gonna be surrounded by brilliant people. So to me, that's actually more exciting than leading another smaller film. I've always had no ego with what role I take. Who was it that said there's no such thing as small roles, just small actors?
I forget, but I've heard that.
Dustin Hoffman, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so to me, that's really exciting. And then I have a couple of other series in development that I'm very excited about. But again, we'll see when we can get them off the ground because of what's going on. But I think hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have things resolved. And I think next year, I'm really excited. We're going to still have some touring, and we're going to go some other places in the world as a band. We're going to take a break from major touring, and probably won't do an album until the next major tour. So I'm really excited about building up the producer credits and building up the acting credits.
Well, my obsession is movies, so that's something that we'll probably get to talk more about. And
Oh yeah, we'll certainly cross paths.
Off the podcast, I'll tell you more about our feature, which it's getting pretty exciting. I actually have to fly to Austin soon to meet some people because we're going to be shooting it in Texas, in a small town. But so one of the last questions is there a special message that you can give to all of your fans out there?
Well, I truly love you guys. I know that we say it a lot. I feel like maybe somewhat casually, like, love you guys from stage and all that, but deep down, I'm nothing but appreciative that I get to do what I get to do. And I'm well aware that it's because you guys are there supporting, caring, even motivating. I don't know if you realize how much, as a fan, you guys motivate me. When I'm down or I'm bummed or I'm feeling a little depressed, and we all feel these emotions, nobody is alone in those thoughts and those emotions. I do remind myself that I have so many people that care and that want nothing but me to succeed and me to be happy. And it just reminds me that I got the coolest jobs in the world, and I'm going to continue working my ass off to create content, movies, TV, music, maybe some other fun stuff like designing houses that you guys can be a part of and you guys can enjoy. So just want to say thanks and love y'all.
Oh, that's incredible. And the last question I have is to all of the new artists out there, that are aspiring artists, is there a piece of valuable advice that you can give them as they begin their journey?
Absolutely. Nothing is easy. Even if you get that one opportunity, that one break, doesn't mean you're going to get another one. Don't let that scare you, but recognize that whether you were doing this in the arts or any other industry, it'd be the same thing. You want to be the top percentile, the number one, the best at a traditional job, being a doctor, being a lawyer, you think that's easy? My Lord, the competition. So it's the same in here. Don't let anybody tell you that being an actor, being a producer, being an artist, being a creative is a tougher path. I wholly disagree with that. Just means you just have to work as hard as you work anywhere else if you want to be at that level of success. So remember that when you get no's, remember that when things don't work. Remember, you only learn when you fail. So it's tough in the moment, but that's where you learn. Don't be afraid to fail. Go out there. Know it's going to be tough, but have fun doing it. And if you're having fun doing it, you're going to keep doing it. If you're not having fun doing it, then try something else. That's okay too. But if you love what you're doing, keep doing it.
Oh, I love that. It's so beautiful. And I love you, James Maslow. It's so good to see your face. Can't wait till we get to hang out again.
Such a pleasure. I'm sorry it's been so long since we got to catch up, but really nice chatting with you. Congrats again on the podcast. This has been so much fun. What a nice, departure from a traditional interview or conversation, because I'm talking to a friend. This has been really pleasant.